Hello, Teresa. It's nice to have you
Hi,
today.
thank you for having me.
I'm Sarah Benham, Director of Operation Graduate, and our team has been working with you for quite some time. And today we're proud to host you for one of our student spotlights. First of all, I want to congratulate you on all of the progress that you've been making toward your degree. You're getting very close to graduation now.
I am. I know I'm so excited. It was a long time coming, and I didn't have full confidence in myself in the beginning, but it all worked out. And again, it doesn't matter, what's going on in life or how old you are, if you have kids or all the things, you can do it if you want to do it. If I can do it, you can do it kind of thing.
So I'm really, really proud of you. And these are some of my favorite events to participate in. I also want to acknowledge the sacrifice that you have probably had to put in and the time that you've had to invest to get to this point. So, can you speak to that for a few minutes, just as a starting point? Can you talk to me big picture about what this overall experience has been like for you?
Well, to be completely transparent, Sarah, when I first started my college journey and with you guys, I was actually suffering from housing insecurity. So I was taking my little HP Chromebook and kind of hopping around from McDonald's Wi-Fi's trying to like complete school. And so just being able to understand that with time management and just like the effort that you can do anything you want to do, it was a lot of sacrifice. It was a very difficult time in my life when I first started college. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to complete just given my circumstances at the time, but with the help and support of, companies like yourself and just a little self-worth and self-empathy, I was able to persevere and here I am.
I know this might be a little bit difficult to think back on, but what was it that inspired you to go back to school when you originally kind of made that choice?
Yeah, absolutely. So I myself am a person in long-term recovery. So I chose a career path helping others out of the fires and out of addiction and just the chains of addiction. So when I started my recovery journey, it was just like almost like godsend. Something put something on my heart saying you need to help other people. So that's when I went ahead and got in the helping field of human service work and eventually I be an LCSW. So that's kind of where I'm going with this.
That's amazing. So what, just a couple of classes left now? I'm thinking how many? Probably we could
I
count them on our hand.
I think I have four.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just got my graduation pass in the email because you can actually go and walk in the ceremony at Indiana Tech in May. So I actually just got that in my email, which is so exciting.
Are you going to participate in the ceremony? What do you think? I think you're in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to consider it. So I work in addiction medicine right now in a treatment center, and I also have my small child. His name is Epic. He's 9. And so if everything works out, I will. But if not, I'm just going to be so excited to have completed and get that certificate.
Now, what has it been like to work with the Operation Graduate team? You've probably met quite a few of us over the years. What has your experience been like?
It's like someone in your corner rooting for you, and that's a really good feeling, especially if you are in a situation where you don't necessarily have a huge support team. They were there to kind of give me a nudge when in the beginning I was a little insecure about, what I was capable of. And they reassured me like, hey, you can do this. You are smart enough. It doesn't matter what age you are, or if you have a kid, or God, if you even have a house, like you can do it. Just keep going. And we're here to be here for what it is that you need at that time.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we understand, that every student is working with a unique situation and life is dynamic, right? It's always going to throw something at you. So a lot of what we have found makes students successful is just having that attitude that no matter what comes their way, they're going to work through it and not get discouraged. And I think you exemplify that. And I also appreciate that you've been really open about what you've shared, with us up to this point. Teresa, what are some of your most memorable moments of working with our team?
So, so exciting. I actually received a scholarship check and I was like, what? Me? A scholarship? Like someone thought I was good enough to get a scholarship check. And I made the team. I said I can move it down to my freshman first semester. It was really challenging. It was like hard to even feel safe in the environment I was in, let alone feel like I could be successful in school. But as things came in motion and just being able to, again, it comes down to like self-worth. And I think that's really what school and education gives an individual is
Hmm.
the ability to believe in yourself and know that you can achieve things. I never thought I'd be in college. Like that was not in the cards for me, you know? And so if I, like I said, if I can do it, and it's as cheesy as it sounds, I know other people can in my given situation. And when there's a will, there's a way, and you'll figure it out, you know, especially with people like yourself being there to support.
Thank you, Teresa. I know we were just working on the scholarship piece with you, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember how did you find out about Operation Graduate?
Yeah. Gosh, it feels like so many moons ago, so
I
many
know.
things.
I'm like, this one's going back in the archives here.
Um, I'm trying to really remember how I applied for it or how we ended up connecting. I think I was just interested in bettering myself and bettering my life, and I applied on something. I wish I could remember. Wish I could answer that question a little bit better for you, Sarah.
That one's
But it
okay. All right.
was
You get a pass. I think it's been what? Have you been with us for 4 years? Or very
yeah,
close now? So to
yeah.
just give perspective to those who are watching the video that don't know about how long you've been with us, it's a little difficult to remember 4 years back how you got connected. So can I ask you, what are some of your strategies for time management? I think that's a key piece to being successful. And I'm curious, how do you balance all of your responsibilities?
Organization. I have a calendar in my bedroom. I have a calendar on my phone, and I have a calendar in my work bag. And I make sure I write down everything, organize, color coordinate. I have specific days and specific times that I'm doing my homework. Otherwise, the day will get away with me. You know, balancing children and work and school and home life and your own sanity. It's definitely a juggle, but it's doable. You just have to have the patience with yourself to give yourself some grace and stay organized.
Excellent tips. So, what resources have you used, not only from Operation Graduate, but possibly even from Indiana Tech, to that have really helped contribute to your success? Sometimes students aren't even aware of all the resources that are out there for them, and I'm curious if there was anything that you tapped into.
So Indiana Tech specifically has a Macmillan library that we're able to find sources and actually study different genres outside of what our even specific major is. So that was helpful. But really in my
Huh.
personal life, it's been more like my support system in regards to making sure I have a therapist, I have, you know, my own sponsor, that I'm connected in the community. I do a lot of community outreach in regards to the recovery community. So making sure that I'm tapped into that and a lot of service work. So that's what personally keeps me balanced.
So you've mentioned some key pieces, right? But a lot of it that you've talked about is kind of coming back to self-worth, right? And knowing and valuing and just never letting that kind of fall to the wayside. What advice would you give to somebody who's maybe not feeling that or starts doubting themselves? Is there anything you can think of that you would want to share?
I would say remember a time that you didn't think you could do something and how the other side of that looked, like what that outcome looks like and how you were able to put in place what you needed to do. Sit down, make a game plan, make a step-by-step
Hmm.
plan. I know with college specifically, it's like the workload. Like, am I smart enough, like, to get through these prerequisite algebra classes? Like, that was my biggest struggle. So I'm going to use that as an example. Like, math and me are not friends at all. So that was really where like I started to self-doubt was like in those early like math classes, right?
Hmm.
Because when I was in middle school and I was in high school, like I wasn't going to school. I was that kid that didn't go to class. I was the kid that was, you know, out wilding out and not putting my education first. So for me, college was way out of grasp. Like that wasn't even really a thought for me. So just again, reminding yourself like if other people can do it, I can do it. There's a way through this. Give yourself some grace. And again, just stay organized.
Thank you, first of all, for sharing again some amazing tips. So, What advice would you give someone who is going back to school today? They're just about to get started, those nerves are rising. What advice would you give to them?
Stay on schedule. Like make sure you get your homework done. Don't skip your homework modules because trying to play catch up is terrible. No, honestly, again, just making sure that you write down specific times. On this day I'm doing this, on this day I'm doing this assignment, and make sure that you follow through. You're going to have to put your education as a priority, and I think that's hard when you have families, because you have people that rely on you to make dinner or to go grocery shopping, and it's manageable. You can do all those things, but again, if you're not filling your own cup, you can't fill somebody else's. It's like being in the
Hmm.
airplane. If you don't put your own mask on first, you're not going to help anyone else. So you need to take care of yourself and put
Hmm.
yourself first sometimes. And like I said, education is just, it's the key of empowerment for me.
Hmm. I'm a firm believer in that as well. And I've been very lucky to come from a family of educators and had that support. What I noticed is that you kind of mentioned that in high school, you didn't even think that college would be on your radar. And
Mhm.
then it sounds like even after that, you invested your time in maybe some other capacities before making a commitment, right, to return to
Mhm.
school. And now here you are. Imagine the example that you're setting for your son, right? You mentioned he's 9 and he's going to see mom about to graduate with her bachelor's degree.
Mhm. He actually asked me, he was like, Mom, you go to college? And I was like, Yeah. He's like, You're in school? And I was like, Yeah. I was like, We can do our homework together. Like, you know, and yeah, I think it is a good example for your kids. And again, like the age doesn't matter. Like I'm 36 years old, and I'm finishing my bachelor's, and right now I'm considering going on to my master's, and I'm going to start applying for masterate programs. So the sky's the limit, and it's scary, but it's a good scary. The unknown, it can be a good scary.
Hmm. We often tell our students that you don't have to see the whole staircase, right? Sometimes it's just taking that first step. Then you take the next one and then the next one, right? That's one of my favorite quotes from MLK. So you were mentioning really making sure that you stay organized, that you got your homework done on time, that playing catch up was really challenging. As a working mom who was completing their coursework, how did you get creative with finding the time? That's something that I would like you to speak in more detail about versus kind of
Mhm.
just general. I think a lot of
Yeah,
working parents could benefit from hearing your specific strategy for that.
absolutely. So I would wake up early before I knew my kids had to get up to do my assignments. I'd put him to bed and I would stay up and I would read my chapter material. In between my work breaks, I would read my chapter material. So it's doable. You're not going to have a lot of the downtime, but I think when you're self-motivated and you really want something, that you make it work.
I'm a firm believer in that as well. Teresa, would you recommend somebody to Operation Graduate?
Absolutely. First off, you get to do cool interviews like this one. So like each other, but you're here and you're excited for me and you're excited that I'm moving on to graduate and you're a part of that journey. And how cool is that? That's not something that is in the program brochure when you apply for college, that you really know that there's going to be like this whole team
Hmm.
there to support you.
Yeah, but I think the support that students need at different times can vary. You might have a 6-week session where you might benefit from talking to us every week. You might have 6 months where we just check in once and say, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need us?" So it's going to ebb and flow, and it's important to our students to know that we adjust, right? That it's really important that we meet each individual student where they are.
Mhm.
So, Teresa, what's something else that you might like to share? I appreciate everything that you've, you know, shared with us up to this point. Do you have anything else that's been on your mind that you'd like to talk about?
I just want to talk about the benefits of online education. I wouldn't have been able to do this if I would have had to be on campus. I wouldn't have fit in my schedule. And because of the flexibility and because I was able to take one class at a time, I was able to get through my college journey. It is more flexible online. It allows you to, be cooking dinner and then come and do your live tech session and do this and that. And I was scared. I almost felt like the education was going to be watered down because it was online, and that was not the case. It was actually more fast paced, but it gave me the leniency to do it at my own.
Thank you for bringing that up. I do think the fact of having only one class is critical in comparison to a lot of traditional structures where you have 3 or 4 classes that you're balancing in one semester. I like that accelerated pace for our online adult learners as well, and the one class at a time format. Did you have any specific instructors or faculty that you really connected with during your time in online schooling?
I did. She was a human service work professor, Miss Bach, and she was also of the LGBTQIA community, which I'm also a part of. And she was really passionate about nonprofit work and community service. So
Hmm.
me and her really connected. And actually, I was able to write her even outside of the course material and ask for advice in regards to like my own nonprofit work and what I do in my space. And so that was cool. She was kind of like a mentor, and I didn't, again, it comes down to like it's okay to take up space and people will be there for you if you ask for it. And so that
Hmm.
again was another lesson of that for me.
That's fantastic. I'm glad I asked. Um, what would you tell a student who's just afraid to ask for help? I think we face that a lot too. Sometimes that's the hardest threshold to get over, especially as an adult student, is recognizing that you need it and then actually speaking up about it.
But it's okay because if you need help, it's likely that somebody else does too, and you're going to be the voice for both of you. It's
Hmm.
okay to take up space and like you deserve support. We all do.
Hmm. Well, Teresa, is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, this has been wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
My pleasure. And again, we want to commend you. We're going to be there for the next, what, semester while you get to the finish line. And, it's just been such a pleasure to work with you up to this point and to get to know you even a little bit better in this capacity today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys.
You're welcome, Teresa. Congrats again. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.